Hello everybody, this is Godzilla 1991 here, and the focus for tonight's review will be on a figure that I've been dying to get ever since it was first announced back in the 3rd of November 2024 during Godzilla's 70th anniversary, and that will be of course the Tamashii Nation's MonsterArts Anguirus 1972. Now, out of all the kaiju of the Godzilla franchise, going as far back as the early days of the series, Anguirus was the most highly requested, along with Biollante. Well, either Biollante was asked first, and then a few years later when Tamashii Nation started making Showa monsters, that's when a lot of folks, myself included, wanted Godzilla's best friend / loyal noble sidekick to be in the range. Well, either that, or he has been long requested since day one, but as I mentioned earlier, during Godzilla's 70th anniversary, Tamashii Nations proudly announced that Anguirus was finally going to receive his own model for the MonsterArts line. And of course it was based on the second incarnation from 1972, despite the fact that the second generation of the character debuted in 1968's Destroy All Monsters. However, Tamashii Nations labelled him as 72 because the two other figures, Showa-wise that is, were Gigan and Godzilla from the 1972 picture Godzilla vs. Gigan, and so naturally Anguirus should be from the same film. And once we get King Ghidorah officially later this year, we'll have the entire cast of the movie, not counting those who made little cameos in the form of stock footage. Now, what are my opinions on the figure? Well, let's now take a look. First up is the colour scheme. In the movies, the second generation Anguirus was earthy brown, and his spikes and horns appear to be a heavily weathered yellow. However, on the model, he seems to be dark brown, with white spikes and horns, which do have a bit of weathering. No idea why the paint job is inaccurate to what we see on screen. My guess is that maybe they thought that he would have looked too similar to Godzilla, or perhaps this was the original colour scheme for the suit, as Tamashii Nations do have history of making models of original concepts for particular characters. Godzilla 2000 is the example, and since then they've done it more accurate. I don't honestly know what the backstory behind it is. When removed from the packaging, Anguirus will be displayed upright, like all the other MonsterArts figures. He is posable, but as you can see, I display him in the standing his grounds position. I wanted to have him in his iconic standing pose, but some of the joints felt a bit stiff, and I was actually terrified that I might accidentally break one of the joints, even though I could have always used the old heat 'em up gimmick. But if I'm going to be honest, when handling delicate figures I like to be super gentle with them. And at one point I decided to portray Anguirus with his tail raised up, not only like a scorpion, but as a little wink to the upcoming new Gashapon figure of him. However, when I displayed him like that, he looks as if he was about to, well, you fill in the blank. So as you can see, I've decided to portray Anguirus standing his grounds as if he's facing off against a foe, and displaying him like this does make him feel a little different compared to the other merch of the character that I own in the collection. My favourite part of the character would be the head, because despite being a fictional member of the Ankylosaurs, Anguirus' head is very dragon looking in appearance, and I do love his crown of horns as well as his canine-like fangs, which are the most delicate part of the figure. And of course he wouldn't be Anguirus without his iconic carapace. If you wish to count how many spikes there are, then be my guest. That's something I've never come round to doing. Also, I've seen pictures online of this model with the carapace removed, and if I'm going to be honest, it makes me feel really uncomfortable because he kinda looks naked without it. Also, like the latest Tamashii Nation models, he does not come with any accessories. Not sure on why they've stopped doing that, as the earliest of those figures came with them. I'm guessing that it's probably due to cost reasons. However, if Anguirus did come with any accessories, then I think it's most likely that it would have been either army tanks or parts of a destroyed building. So now for size comparisons. Well, this is what he looks like with Godzilla 1972 that we've looked at before. Links in the description below in case you wish to check the video out. Here he is with one of the antagonists of the movie, that being Gigan, who we've also talked about, again, link below. And here he is with the Bad Eye Movie Monster Series original Raise Again Anguirus that we covered along with the 55 Godzilla, once more, links below. Now, what are my final thoughts on the Tamashii Nation's MonsterArts Anguirus 1972? Well, I believe that for their first attempt of the character, they've really knocked it out of the park. The colour scheme may be a bit off, However, if you're a talented custom artist, then you could always just repaint him. Also, this model is far more superior compared to the new Bandai vinyl of him from the Kaiju Collectible Roundup Dreams set. They could have done a much better job with it, it's why I went for the Tamashii Nations figure instead. I really do like the Showa Anguirus, as he's like a dragon mixed in with a dinosaur, where Final Wars in my eyes kinda looks a bit bulldog-like in appearance, and I'm so happy that they went for the 68 to 72 Anguirus. And I wonder if we'll get other interpretations of the character at some point in the future, from Godzilla Raids Again to Godzilla Singular Point. But I guess for that one, only time will tell. This is Dragonzilla 1991 signing out. Take care, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.